And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Alexandra Kallos, who was previously here to talk about her near-death experience. She returned today to channel for us and to share with us what's going to be coming in 2026. Alexandra, welcome back. It's great to have you again.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. It's lovely to be here.
Well, let me start with this. Do you feel that channeling is or was a result, either directly or indirectly, of your NDE?
It's a really good question. It requires a little bit of a longer answer because before my NDE, before my accident, I was very spiritual. I was very open as a child and a teenager, and I did have, let's say, very limited abilities, but they were really not. They were not encouraged. So it sort of never went anywhere. It didn't really develop, and it is true that the NDE sort of it opened the door really open wide, to all the other dimensions and all these quantum gifts that we have. But it sort of really fell in its place, and all my psychic abilities really came online after my spiritual awakening, as I call it, or spiritual blooming, I call it. So I sort of had access to full mediumship, visions, messages, seeing people's aura, seeing energies, seeing beings. Yes, and that has also led to very mystical experiences over the years, actually.
Well, how did you start channeling?
So really during my, just leading up to my full spiritual awakening, which was a partial Kundalini awakening as well, which is extremely intense, and it really blows open all your chakras and your auric field, and that was really the sort of total activation of it all. So leading up to that, I was already I was starting to have connection with what I call my angels, my spirit guides. So there was a sort of a soft, let's say, sort of way into it. But then when I had this really very mystical experience that I call my spiritual awakening, everything amplified. So it went way beyond, just receiving messages here and there from angels or spirit guides, or being able to really read tarot cards without, like divination and stuff. So I immediately started channeling messages from Metatron, and consciousness, an entity that I understood was really like a collective consciousness, because it's a very large, it's a very imposing consciousness. And so I became a messenger for Metatron. And that was very exciting. And that went on for a while. And from that, I was also able to then channel other archangels. And then also sort of that extended into connections with star beings, councils of light. So that's sort of how it all went.
I'm sure there's going to be some comments in this video that you're channeling demons, because some people don't believe in it, right? Mm-hmm. So are you able to discern whether you are channeling these beings for real, or could there be tricksters out there?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm very aware of that. Also, I teach, or I take people through the channeling process. So, of course, this is a very, very important issue. So I have to so let me track back a little bit. So when that all started, even when it was, let's say, very low key with the angels, and I call it low key, and sort of messages from spirit guides, and occasionally having connection to passed over loved ones, I immediately felt, I had an awareness that I needed to put a safety protocol in place, especially or like specifically for the reason that you mentioned. So how do I know that this is really the angelic, or really, Metatron, or really whatever entity or consciousness wants to come through you? And that was kind of simplistic in the beginning. And then when I actually started what I channel now, and what I will channel for you now and your viewers, is what calls itself the divine. And that is the creator, prime source, consciousness or energy. And that was also a very beautiful experience when that first sort of came through me. And so that sort of initiation, those initiations, if they are done well, they include a safety protocol. Yeah, always knowing that you channel that which you call upon, or that which you are a vessel for. So that's what I can say. And this has to do, of course, a lot with your senses. So how does it feel? Are they trying to take over? How is their demeanor? How do they speak? So, and of course, in the beginning, this can be a little bit of an experiment, and that's all part, I think, of the journey, and you cannot be afraid of such things if you really want to sort of expand your spiritual journey and experiences, and expand more into the wider consciousness and metaphysics. Yes, you have to be open to those things, and learn, and course correct when things don't feel right. Then you shut it down. That's how I did it. I also received some instruction from people that I, let's say, studied with or did courses with. So there is a lot of input. And over the many years that I've been channeling now, yes, I think it's sort of synthesized, into very much your own stream and the way that you do it. And the one that I channel now, the divine, as they call themselves, and they also always speak in we. They're not a singular entity or a singular consciousness. They're really, the all that is. And we can all channel that. What I really, really would like to get across, and especially perhaps also to the ones that are very skeptical, or the disbelievers, and that's all okay, and that's all within everyone's right. We're all on a different journey. But what I would really like to add, and what I always share also in my in the activations, in my teachings of channeling, is that we can all be channeling the divine. We can all be channelers. In fact, it's part of the let's say the hardware, the original human prototype that many thousands of years, the first complete human prototype came with those settings. Yeah, we were all completely multidimensional and able to see into different dimensions. We were telepathic and so on. And that's just been one of the capabilities and human traits that are very intrinsic to the human prototype that have been closed down and also dumped down because they have tinkered with our DNA, as I'm sure you're aware of.
Are you a trance channel?
Yes, you could call it a trance channel. Yes.
So you're going to be completely unaware of what's going to be channeled today until you go back and watch this video.
Not totally. In the beginning, yes. It was so deep, and there was physically also so much going on. It was usually very hot because there was so much energy flowing through my body. It's sort of now, it's sort of, I would say it's sort of calibrated to somewhere more, it's very much, so I'm aware, but my awareness is very much in the back. I also channel, sometimes my eyes are closed, sometimes they will open, but I don't really see anything in detail. I will see sort of a bit of a blurry vision. So there is, my awareness is still there, let's say, but most of it is for my divine channel. Yes.
Can you share with us some of the most surprising things that you've learned from channeling? And what I mean by that is, like, you channeled some information and then you went back and listened to it and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I said that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's that's happened many times. So my channel will often also speak in a particular type of, it will use a particular type of words that my personality, that Alexandra, that I would never use. In the beginning, they sometimes used words that I had no idea existed, that I literally had to Google afterwards. But the most interesting thing is that while you channel, you understand it perfectly. It all makes perfect sense. It's exactly like you said, it's after the channel, when you come out from channeling, it's like, and I record all my channels so I can listen back to them, that I think, you know, wow, what was that? What was that word or that expression? And also because I channel in English. And as I am not a native English speaker, yes, of course, there are words that I have never heard of. So what is interesting is that I would say that actually my vocabulary has grown because my channel uses a very wide and kind of flowery English language, let's put it that way. So yes, it's happened. Yeah.
Is it like you take a back seat, then these beings take over your body and you're just witnessing them speaking through you? Or are they speaking to you, then you hear it and you translate it?
So, Jeff, it's a bit of both. So it depends also if I channel my divine, as I call them now, as they call them themselves. And I would like to add to that, that they didn't actually really want it to be called anything. They just said, well, this is it. You know, we are the creative force. We are what you call source. It's whatever. And then I said, well, but it'd be easier for me if you had a name. So I also know that I also channel, the same consciousness. And then they settled. They said, well, we are the divine. If you need to have a name or a term, you can call it the divine. It was more or less like that. So there is a distinction in channeling, and you've just explained that. And in my case, at least, yes, it varies between the two. It depends a little bit on what beings you channel. So whether more of my personality is there and it's more like I'm hearing it and then sort of translating it for them, or whether it's, totally in sync, trance, like with my divine, there is no translation. It's completely, live in the moment, in the same now moment. So yeah, it depends on the consciousness that you channel.
Well, are you ready to channel?
Yes.
Do you need to prepare before we get started?
No. It just takes a moment. I do my own little protocol. I close my eyes, you will see it, and then the divine, my channel will announce itself, and we will take it from there. Okay? So just
Okay.
give me a moment.
Sure. Take as much time as you need.
We are here. We always are. For we are one. Welcome. Welcome, dear one. We welcome you. As we have anticipated this gathering, and we are very much enjoying these co-creations. So welcome. And we just wanted to say to you all, that we speak through all of you, not just through this vessel or through a few special ones, chosen ones. We speak through each and every one of you, and we speak in many ways, in many tongues, in many forms. But are you listening? And so, we are very grateful and excited to be here. So you may ask your question now.
Thank you for joining us. We would like to know what's coming in our future and what should we prepare for?
Thank you. Give us a moment. So what we like to start with is that the 1st of January, the first day of your new calendar year, it is not really a portal. Your new year, the new energy, really only arrives around the spring solstice in March. So we would like to say that right off the bat, to seed this in your consciousness. For your calendar is a hijacked one, but we will save that for another time. It is true that because all of you as a collective have accepted and embraced the 1st of January as the first day of a new energy, a new chapter, a new year, of course it has power. But it is not as powerful as the one that is energetically aligned. And that happens at the end of March. And so, your new year, the first month, the first 2 weeks of the year will be relatively calm, maybe the first 10 days. But your year of 2026 will be a volatile one, because it is a year that carries the signature of fire. Because also this is symbolized and supported by your Chinese astrology, where that is the year of the fire horse. And it is numerologically a year of the number 1. So you are transitioning from the year of the number 9, the energy of 9, which was a year of endings, accumulations, changes, also breakups, And you're going into a year of fast-paced energy. And so it will be like a raging fire. That is the best word we can give it. We would also like to share that it is the start of a new cycle. And this we had channeled in the year 2019, that the year 2026 would be the year where everything changes. Because in 2019, a 7-year cycle started, and that cycle is now ignited in 2026. So, it will be a year of great political unrest. In the United States, in Europe, in several parts of Europe, in the UK, but also in countries in Asia and Australia. What does that mean, unrest? It means that, and we need to see all of that in the light of this new cycle starting. As you are collectively moving through the transition that you call the shift, the transition to what you call the new earth, this is going to accelerate. There is an incredible amplification of energies from the year 2026. And so this means that many of the old structures have to dismantle. They will crumble. And this will really be very visible from the month of March, April. By the middle of this year, wow, you are going to be in this absolute whirlwind of events. So old structures will crumble, governments, big corporations, banks. This year will also be economically volatile, instability. There is a lot of inflation, or inflated value is what we would like to say. So currencies are going to suffer. That means economies will suffer. But the big economic crash, it will start more towards the end of the year and going into 2027. This is all part of the big reset that has long been prophesied and which is so necessary. There's going to be also an increase in what you would call natural disasters, volcanic eruptions, like volcanoes that have long been dormant for many, many years, decennia, sometimes millennia. They will get activated. And we would like to offer as a side note that not all of those these natural disasters or occurrences are totally natural. There has been a lot of weather modification all over your planet, but intensified in certain parts of your planet, of your world. They are able to make it rain. They, the powers that be, the ones that really control all the strings that keep this matrix together. So, not only can they make it rain, they can also modify certain telluric energies, the ones that can cause volcanic eruptions, earthquakes. So, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods. There will be an increase in floods, big floods, and they will do damage. Now, it's also important to understand that floods are also of a cleansing nature. So it's very easy to look at things only from your human 3D perspective and see the drama and see the damage and the suffering. But we would like to invite you to step back, to zoom out, as it were, and to look at it, to look at your world and all the events playing out in the movie that we call your world, your lives. If you look at them through the eyes of spirit, not everything is bad, because waters cleanse and certain parts of your world, they need to be cleansed. And you should not forget that your planet has been flooded many, many times. And it was also for that reason. When we speak of extreme weather occurrences, we would also like to offer to you that you, individually as well as collectively, as humanity, have an influence of your weather. Because you are emotional beings, you are electrical beings. Your energy as a human is electric, and therefore you emanate, you emit frequencies. Emotions are frequencies. And these frequencies, these energies, they coincide with weather patterns. So you could say, you are very much the weather. So the more that your emotions are unstable, the more that you are in fear as a collective, the more you will have influence on the weather patterns worldwide. Another thing that will be very prominent in the year to come, in the next, we would like to say 2-3 years, is what you call disclosure. So there's going to be a continuation, because it already started. There is the mainstream media already reporting on certain UFO, UAPs, of all this kind of unexplained phenomena that take place within your world, within your reality. they are going to increase. And what we would like to say is that it is now more than ever important that you learn to trust your own discernment, because not everything that you see is exactly what it is. So many people will see, and they will record it also on their devices, on their phones and their cameras, and it will look like a UFO, a craft. But it is not to say that these crafts are necessarily from off-planet species. It can very well be, and it is also something that has happened already in the years leading up to this, that what you are looking at is a re-engineered craft. So it's not really from a different species, from some star beings or extraterrestrials. In fact, it comes from Earth, and it is in connection with certain parts of your military. But these sightings will increase. And this is necessary because you are, as a collective, as a humanity, you are moving towards the moment and the time where you, as a collective, understand your place in the cosmos, in the galaxy, in your solar system. For you are not alone, never have been. And so there is, with the co-creation of many of those already incarnated on your planet, beings that you call star seeds and things like that, there's going to be an increase in contact. And there's going to be moments, events, where larger groups of people will witness the arrival, an encounter with true off-planet species. And it will be undeniable. And there are certain humans, there are certain souls incarnated, embodied on your planet now, and they are like a sort of ambassador. There are these ambassadors, and many people that have wanted this open contact with the space brothers and sisters that are going to manifest these events. Do you follow? They are always the result of a co-creation. And for many of you, this is going to be magnificent. This is going to be like long-held dreams coming into reality. But the most important thing that we would like to say, what we would like to share with you, is your choice to which frequency you are going to align your being with. For there has been a bifurcation. This bifurcation started gently in 2012 and went into full force 2-3 years ago. that is also accelerating. What do we mean with that? That you could say that there are two timelines, two roads, two different Earths, quite literally. They are emerging. So there is a timeline where Earth as a collective and where many people of Earth are going to go with the light, we would like to call it. That is the road, that is the frequency, the vibration that is going to stabilize a 5D humanity that lives and thrives on a 5D Earth. The 5D frequencies are the frequencies of oneness, of unity, of love. They are the crystalline templates that were seeded by the historical figure you call Jesus, or the Jeshua, and his feminine divine counterpart, the Maria Magdalene. There have been many such prophets and embodiments. So that energy, that frequency of the 5D Earth, it has long been seeded on your planet. And that is going into an acceleration. So it can come into full manifestation. That is one timeline. And the other is the continuation of the Earth that you are on now. The Earth of polarity, of division, of suffering, of war. And that, in that bifurcation, that timeline, that frequency will also deeply align with what you call AI, as there will be an ever deeper merging of what you call the artificial intelligence and the artificial technology and the human. So that's the timeline of advanced transhumanism, the merging of the organic human and the machine. This is happening. This is already taking place on your planet. So that is in a simplistic way, the bifurcation and the two options that are now being presented to you. And so our invitation to you is, what is the timeline that you most resonate with? What is the frequency that most aligns with you? And what do you feel is your part in this? For what is our greatest message, and has been our message from the very first day and moment that we channeled through this vessel and all the others that channel us, is that you are a being of love. That is what you truly are made of. You came from love. You are love embodied. And you are here to remember that love and to become that love fully. Not only on moments that it suits you or that it's easy, but to really embody that crystalline love. Not the romantic kind of love. The one that we speak of is the cosmic, the love of oneness. Because, dear ones, beloveds, that is the ultimate promise for your world. It always has been. It is what you were anchored in your original prototype, and you just have forgotten. You have gone on these endless cycles of ascension and descension because you have all, as souls, opted for these journeys in separation, in forgetting, in amnesia. And so, if you align with the 5D timeline, you allow for the crystalline to become your reality. And so, our most important piece of guidance, the most beautiful flower we would like to offer you, is the one of the heart. To remember who you truly are, that you are a being of love, of oneness, that you can transcend duality and polarity, and that was always on the menu, now more than ever. Your heart is the most important portal of your existence. The journey to align with the new earth, with the 5D frequency, is the journey of the expanded heart. And so, in this moment, we invite all of you, beautiful beings, to perhaps place your left hand on your heart and to breathe in to your heart, your higher heart, your true heart. To breathe into the palm of your hand and to receive these words. To amplify the portal, to truly focus on your higher heart and to smile and to fully open yourself to the love that is available to you and all those new streams of higher love that are now flowing into your world, into your planet. And your heart is the motor. The heart is the generator, and the heart is the receiver of all these new higher frequencies. That, dear souls, that is our deepest message for you. To opt for your heart, to align with your soul, and then channel that light. Be that light, that divine light of your heart, the true light of your soul. So we hope that that is the invitation to so many of you. Always return to the heart. It will always offer you the truth. As we also channel through the heart, this is a heart-based transmission. It is between the crown and the heart. And that is another piece of alchemy that is going to be taken place in your reality for many, many, many more of you. Because many, many of you will experience the activation of their true souls, the activation of their superhuman capabilities. And that is also happening in this coming chapter, coming year. Many new children that will be born, they will already have more DNA turned on. And science will prove these so-called anomalies. And these children, truly they are your brothers and sisters from the other planets, other galaxies. And they have come to be a part, to play a role in the unfolding of this grand transition on your planet. And so these children, they will have already many psychic abilities activated. They will be what you would call genius, very musical. They will not think linear but conceptual. They are here to guide you, to guide the way, as they have that inherent mind-heart connection intact. So they are very much here to be your teachers, to be your guides. They are very special, and they should not be crushed by your current archaic educational systems. That will be another big change. The overhaul of your educational systems.
What are some practical ways to align with the 5D timeline?
Thank you for your question. We think that we have mentioned some already. The focus point of what you colloquially call 5D ascension, or the 5D, the fifth dimensional frequencies. The focus point is the heart. It is the cultivation of your heart. Make that the most important part of your practice. Have a practice. Focus on gratitude. Meditate. Mindfulness. Learn to channel. Change your diet. It is very difficult to keep eating a very dense 3D diet that includes processed foods, dense meats, etc., alcohol. If you are on a journey, if you are in a process of refining your vessel, of fine-tuning your body and your system to the 5D frequencies. And diet is not only what you eat, the foods that you consume. Diet is also all that you take in. Every movie that you watch, everything you watch on your televisions, on your computers, the games that you play, the music that you listen to, all of that we would call is your diet. And all of that should be brought into alignment, should be refined. Very important now. And many of you will feel that your food, your dietary choices will change. Because it simply won't be, you will not be able to sustain those habits in the increasingly subtler frequencies. Listen to beautiful music. Music of high vibration. There are certain instruments that are now known to produce very divine tones that are very healing and that calibrate your nervous systems. Very necessary for the fine-tuning to 5D. So stay away from violent movies. Stay away from low vibrational people and events, for they do impact each and every one of you very deeply. So have a practice and fill yourself with light. Meditate with light. Spend time in nature. Nature is already in 5D. In fact, nature offers you every possible dimension that you would wish for. So nature is a very, very big component.
Have you foreseen a world war like World War III that is coming?
That is a question that we get often, unfortunately. And so we would like to share our perspective. In one way, you could say that World War III has already started. There are many places on your planet that have been in a perpetual state of war over several years. There is immense destruction. There is immense suffering on your planet, caused and perpetrated at the hand of humans. So there is a perspective where we would say World War III is already a reality. There are parts of Asia, there are parts in Africa, there are parts in the Middle East where humans are in a perpetual state of war. Whether you would qualify that as World War III, well, that depends on the description. Then, of course, we also are aware that you are alluding to a possible nuclear war. And so, what we can say to that is that indeed there have already been moments where that was a possibility, but the deployment of such weaponry has been avoided. And that was in some part due to the oversight of non-terrestrial beings, groups. And so what we see is, especially if you look at the timeline we described, where Earth and certain humans are going to continue in this current stream of greed, destruction, suffering, power games, domination, and not to forget the unauthorized looting of your Earth's natural resources. They are closely linked to war, because many of your wars are fought over these rare and valuable resources. So in that timeline, there is possibility of a greater war, of greater destruction, of unimaginable damage and suffering. But what we would like to say to that as well is that you are not powerless in this. Each and every human, you have consciousness, you are consciousness, and you can use your conscious intent to influence greater events, outcomes. So you are not powerless. Will there be an intensification? Yes, unfortunately. Because it is a result of the increasing polarization. And America is a very big player in all of these wars, the ones that are already happening, and the high probability of new ones starting. It is a very big player in that, what you would call a doom scenario.
Is there a place on Earth that would be considered safe to be?
What you are asking is, there is a zone or a country that would be exempt from any of those war scenarios playing out? There are. But they would still suffer from the economic and environmental impact of these wars.
Some people believe in the religious version of the end times and that Jesus will return. Are we in the end times, and will he be returning soon?
Thank you for that question. That has also been asked before. This is not an easy question, and so the answer that we will offer you, our perspective, may surprise you, and it may not land well with certain viewers, and that is okay. So if we were to look at the end times, it is sort of similar to what we mentioned as the doomsday scenario, the apocalypse. Would you agree?
Yes.
They are all terminology, etymology, that points to the same theme, and that is that there would be an event, a process in which your world would end. The sort of the image that is conjured up when we receive that question, and the vibration that it holds, is that of a whole planet on fire, innumerable death, destruction. Of course, this is a religious concept. And religious concepts are man-made because all religions are man-made. Of course, a doomsday or a end times can also be viewed in a broader perspective. And you could say that from a certain way, you are in end times. Because a certain cycle for your planet is ending. So there is end times. Because there is a possibility, there is a portal opening into an ascent, into humanity going to a higher frequency. So in one way, you could say you are already in end times. But that is not exactly aligning or covering its religious connotation. Now, for the second part of your question, whether Jesus, the Christ, will return. What we would like to offer you is that the historical figure or the frequency that the Christ was, for he was so much more than a man, than a human, than a body, than a prophet, because in fact he was a vibration. He came to seed a frequency. He came to point to the portal of your own salvation, your own ascension. For what was lying at the foundation of his true words and his true legacy was that every human is like him, that every human is a Christ, that every human is divine, that you are a spark of the divine, and that you can be like him. And therefore, the question, will he return? From our perspective, that is not really what is happening. He, as a person, an incarnated, embodied soul, he is not returning. But his legacy is being activated. And that is that we can all choose, that every human can choose to activate that Christ consciousness, that crystalline 5D consciousness within yourselves. It was never about the man. It was about his frequency. It was about his legacy. And that time is now.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions.
Thank you. We would like to add one more thing that we have also said in previous channelings, and that is that there is going to be more disclosure about the region that you call your pole circles, Antarctica. And again, we would like to implore you to use your discernment, for not all of the information will be true. But it is very important that this is seeded within the larger collective consciousness, because there is much importance. Artifacts are buried beneath the ice. Antarctica, that which you call your pole continents, the lands that are frozen, they were not frozen always. In fact, they were very lush lands. And you will find, that is one of the things that you will find once the true light shines over Antarctica, and in the disclosure that will follow. And why we are mentioning this is because of the serious nature of some of the artifacts and the buildings, the remnants of other civilizations, of off-planet civilizations, but also of human civilizations. They are the missing link in your expansion journey. They are the missing link in humanity fully knowing where they came from and where they are going. For you are a species with amnesia. You have been reset many, many times. And with this focus on that which you call Antarctica, a very important piece of that puzzle will come to light. And we wanted to offer you that.
Why have we been reset many times?
For that was part of this planet's larger journey. It's also part of the cosmology of your Earth, of its people, of its beings. And part of it has also been the human reset, has been in large part due to the overlords that rule your kingdoms. There is a movement. There is a, let's say, a community of beings that are not invested in the empowerment of humanity. They are not invested in the full awakening and activation of humanity. That's why there have been so many resets. But you have the key within. You can resist the new reset because you can opt for the actualization of your divinity. And that would bypass the reset, because it would also mean that you align with the timeline of light. And so we would like to leave it at that. We thank you for receiving these words, and we thank you for opening your hearts. And we hope to speak with you again. I know that you are loved, very, very loved. Thank you. You're complete.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Were you present for any of that?
Yeah, parts of it. It was a lot, I think.
Yeah, but I think that it'll be interesting for you to go back and watch this because there was a lot said.
It feels very warm. It's very, it's such a heart-based transmission, the channeling. There's all that beautiful, sort of warm, beautiful energy. I'm very hot at the moment.
Will you find later that you are exhausted or tired from this channeling?
No. It really, if anything, it adds to your energy. Not in the beginning. Most people, when we start to channel, and the way that I channel and that I teach people to channel, in the beginning it could feel quite overwhelming, and it was a little bit of a feeling that it would take a lot of your energy and it could leave you a bit exhausted. Yes, but as you calibrate, to these higher frequencies from these beings that you channel, the more that you calibrate, the more that your system is able to hold, more light, because in the end, it's all light. Yeah. The essence of channeling is light. It's a light frequency. Energy is light. So, you calibrate to it, and then it gives you energy.
What is your website?
My website is alexandra-kallos, QHHT.com.
Do you have a YouTube channel as well?
Yes, it's called Inner Quantum with Alexandra. I also post a lot of my channelings, and some of my group sessions are also on there. So your viewers can watch that and see if, they align with the messages.
Well, Alexandra, before we finish up, Can you leave us with a last positive message?
Yes. And that is very much the message that came, that is the predominant message from my channels. And that is that, we are divine. We are a divine being. We all are. And, we are here to actualize that divinity. That is really what we are here for. That we remember that, and that we re-embrace and embody that. And many thousands of people, hundreds, thousands, millions possibly, are already on a journey of doing that. They're in that process. And that is, the movement of light that we see on our planet is that. And I, for one, are very excited about that. Because as that grows, the more we can sort of course correct all the events and the energies that we don't like. So it's really about, remembering your divinity. You are really a divine spark, and you are here to shine that light. And the world needs you now more than ever, really. So, and of course that we all came from the stars. I think the channel said something about that too. I don't quite remember now, but yes. And of course, the more we celebrate, our starseed nature and our abilities, the better it's going to be. It's going to be a fantastic, intergalactic party.
Alexandra, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you, Jeff. It was a delight. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, and same to you. Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.